how do you guys, if the game's dragging a little bit and the fans aren't entirely in it, how do you create energy for a team in the middle of the second quarter?
Well, you just got to be able to hype yourself up, hype your teammates up. I mean, we realize it's a long season. Like, you're not gonna have like the best energy or like your best performance every single game, but you got to figure out a way to, even on those days where it's not really your day, you still scrap out a win or stuff like that. That's what makes you a really good team at the end of the day.
How do you hype people up?
I feel like we're all professionals. You gotta know how to get yourself going to an extent. Like, obviously, like, your teammates help, like the fans help, like all the environment helps. But if it's not there for whatever reason, you got to find a way to hype yourself up. And I feel like that's very individual based on like who it is. So you got to know how to get yourself going.
As you said, it's 82 games. No team's gonna have it every night. Are there, you've been in the league long enough. Are there certain teams that are just better at doing that and finding that for themselves than others, or does it sort of all sort of?
I mean, yeah, of course. Like, I think there's teams that in general have better vibes than others. There's not like one way of doing it. Like, there's not like one recipe that you can just follow. It's hard to like just replicate that. Like I said, you gotta kind of find your own individual like identity almost, and then run with that.
I mean, that said, 2 consecutive threes can generally create some good vibes.
For sure, like some highlight plays, like starting a run, all this stuff. Like, but if it's not going well, like just because you made a couple threes, it's not going to change the game for you. Like, you might generate some hype for a second, but you like to be able to sustain that, you gotta just play with energy. You gotta make the right basketball play, like this type of stuff. Like, that feels good. Like when you're out there and like it just feels like you're flowing well. Like that's generally what helps the most.
Overall, from more of a team perspective, what do you feel like has been the difference between this month and last month's games and just executing?
Which month was which?
Yeah, this is hard to, especially for me. I feel like because I really haven't been here this long, so like it's hard. Like it all blurs into one. Like kind of like I said earlier, some days are better, some days are worse. I feel like we've been playing pretty good basketball. I've been saying that, and I stand by it. Like, I think we play pretty good. It's just sometimes there's little things that are missing, or like little things that aren't going our way, and like if we just keep our heads high, like you're gonna lose some games. Just keep your heads high, know what you're doing well, and keep at that, and then you're gonna be fine.
The Pacers, a lot of times they play Turner lifted. They have all the guards that play 5 out almost. And you got the Pistons tomorrow. They have like 7 young bigs. It feels like, and just cramming. They were just so dominant on the offensive glass when we played them last time. How much of a contrast and how much of a challenge is that?
Yeah, there's probably a pretty big contrast there, but we're used to seeing these teams. I've played against the Pistons plenty of times, against that team that they have right now. Obviously, I think we'll be fine. I think it's more about like us mentally getting our heads back in the game, like not worrying too much about the last game, and just getting it going again, like playing with physicality, intensity, and just getting it going for the next game.
Does it feel like there's that sense of urgency kind of kicking in with so few games left and standings are so tight and easy?
I feel like it's been like that. Yeah, we know what we expect from each other. We know what we expect from us as a team, and obviously for us to get where we want to be, like we gotta win some games. We gotta put ourselves in as good a position as possible for the postseason.
Thanks, yeah.
Sometimes I feel like it happens. We just got to catch ourselves a little quicker.
When you're reading a game like last night in the first half, they did some different things. You got 9 field goal attempts, but then you had the huge second half and fourth quarter. When you're reading the game, what are you seeing, or what are you looking for when you can take your shots?
I think again, like just knowing that I'm gonna get a lot of attention. I think for me, like just trying to make the right plays every time down the floor, and I think that the challenge is just keeping that aggressive kind of like level, like high at all times, basically. But it's hard when like you get that much attention. And I think that I always try to make the right plays, and you know, but then there's times where I'm feeling like, you know, I just gotta keep going and take whatever is there. Like which for me, I just feel like, you know, like I always feel like I have an advantage, but it's just a matter of like, you know, the help defense and managing that.
Is the fear becoming too aggressive when you got that all attention, almost to the point of being a little bit reckless, or is that the
No,
you gotta
never.
back up a little bit?
Never. I always feel like I'm in control, and my thing is just continuing to make the right plays. Like that's my mentality, and you know, sometimes the right play is like, you know, you going, and sometimes you passing it, like or whatever the case might be. So I just try to read that.
When the energy is dragging and maybe the team's not off to a hot start, and Scotiabank Arena can get kind of quiet or whatever, how do you change that in the middle of a game? Just all of a sudden go from kind of low energy to up tempo.
You just gotta do it. I don't know how. We just gotta figure it out. What I know is that, you know, we can't have many of these, so just gotta do it.
Do you feel like there's a sense of urgency with so few games left and the standings are so tight in the East?
It is. I think it's been like that for a while. You know, all these games are important, and we have to give our best shot every single night.
How are you feeling about the team's defense at this point in the season?
I think we're doing good. I think, you know, again, we got to minimize the mistakes, but for the most part, I think, you know, we're doing good. Obviously, not good enough some nights to win some games, but we've done good enough to win also some games. So it is just got to continue to work hard, minimize the mistakes, and give ourselves the best shot.
It feels like some nights you guys are really kind of closing out games in the fourth quarter as you guys were had a 7-0 streak at home win streak. But then obviously last night it wasn't enough to get it done. What do you feel like that was like the difference there? Was it mistakes? Was it tightening something up on defense?
I don't know. You lose some games
shots?
sometimes. Yeah, you lose some games. Some other team make shots, and you miss some. So.
Three guys able to do anything today?
Nope. All were out of practice today. Remain questionable. All three of them.
What are practices like this time of year? Did you get a lot of work done, or is it a lot of film work? Is it more
Well,
theory
yeah. I mean, we've there's not a lot of contact and stuff like that, obviously, and even less when you got you know, a bunch of guys out. You know, we've got those guys out, and a couple of the G League guys are out too, injury-wise, so they can't fill in numbers-wise. Today was film work. We always got a couple of defensive things we're shoring up in drill work. Lots of execution stuff on offense and special teams. Lots of shooting, things like that, yeah.
How challenging is it when you do have a couple guys out to manage around your depth?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think it is. It's been tough. I think especially, you know, and even like last night, it's like you're trying a bunch of different guys and searching, and I, you know, I think some of those guys came in tougher situations. They haven't played that much for us in a while, and did okay. I thought Jeff and Malachi both did decent in their stints. But yeah, I mean, it's a challenge for sure, but gotta figure it out. Gotta figure it out.
Is it a challenge to manufacture energy or strategy when you got new
Well,
guys in there?
it's just a little bit. You see, you know, last night a little bit on things like, I don't know, just like sometimes getting the ball in bounds after a basket. You know, different guys are not used to being in certain places or whatever. Just a slight bit of that going on. You know, looking back at the tape last night, there was a lot of really good segments of things. There was tons of really good offense. I mean, I can't really I mean, the only complaint I have offensively is the fast breaks. I thought we left a bunch on the table when we had advantage, missed a bunch of stuff at the rim after great defense. The rest of it was executed super well. The shot spectrum was phenomenal. The shot challenges that we were facing were light or non-existent on a lot of them. We just gotta it's one of those nights where you got to try to grind out and manufacture a win another way. Probably the most disappointing thing for me was in the midst of a lot of really good defense at times, I thought late in the fourth we had a couple critical misreads on the schemes that got them free, right? And they knocked them down. I mean, they made 4 huge threes in the fourth. 2 of them were step backs, and one was a real bad breakdown by us, and another one wasn't. It was just a tough make. But we can't have those 2 schematic breakdowns in the fourth like that.
It's probably fair to say last night was at points a dull game. There wasn't a lot of energy. There wasn't a lot of juice in the building. How do you think your team reacts to that kind of atmosphere?
Yeah, I didn't think last night's was as bad as the game before. It was pretty quiet, that one, I thought, and for a long time. I thought last night's had some fairly good energy. I mean, I just thought I thought the energy was pretty good. I thought guys were trying hard, etc. I just, again, my only complaint was I thought we weren't quite physical enough around the rim at times, either in rebounding, like it appeared to me a couple times we were going to get offensive rebounds, like we had them outnumbered, and it looked like it was, somewhat 50-50, and we weren't pulling many away. We tipped a lot out to them, right? And I thought, again, we didn't play through some contact at the rim. There was a lot, there was a lot. I mean, they did call a lot of fouls, but there was a lot more. They should, but the guys need to try to figure out a better move, a stronger move, or to take the hit and somehow, guide it in there anyway. There was a segment of that I thought we weren't physical enough around the rim, just pulling the ball down or putting it in the basket.
In general, would you say that's an issue with this team?
No. I mean, listen, I think I've talked about us playing through contact and finishing at the rim earlier in the year, and it does show up every now and again, right? But no, that's the first time. I mean, we've been much better in transition scoring and break opportunities and all that stuff, in the last month for sure. And last night was just a kind of a drop-off in that area.
How do you work on physicality in practice at this point of the season when it's
No, you can't. You're not going to work on it too much, right? You're not going to throw bodies against bodies, trying to simulate that stuff. I mean, that stuff's all been done, right? And like I said, it's been at a pretty high level for a number of months, probably a few months now. It's just one of those things you got to show them the clips and refocus and. Like my thing is sometimes we try to make a finesse move or an early decision in transition where sometimes the best decision is to get all the way down there, get to 2 feet, get as big and wide as you can and pump fake and take it through them and draw the contact and some of that stuff. So just making a little better decisions is how watching the film is how you work on it right now.
Coach, how do you mentioned the fourth quarter. What's the difference or the biggest factor in closing one out versus maybe struggling to finish?
Well, last night you could literally come down and say it was make or miss because we generated a ton of wide open threes and they made 4 and we didn't make any, right? But if you want to talk about how you're going to fix it, how you're going to take away the ones they made, we made a couple critical defensive mistakes. Some of that was guys that probably wouldn't have been matched up where they were last night, but they are, and they can't make them, right? And we just got to do a better job of executing the personnel game plan and things like that. Okay.